What's up, everyone? Tyler and Durfo here bringing you our last discussion video of 2024. We're going to be going over the highlights, the good, the bad, and the ugly of cEDH in the year 2024.
Yep, so lots of things have happened. It's been quite a roller coaster. Let's kind of just take a second and see how we're doing.
Oh, yeah. Now, before we do get started, one of the things that we both agreed on is we're not going to mention the whole drama between the possible cEDH RC and the former Commander RC. At this point, water under the bridge, we're not going to touch that mess. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to go over, of course, the ban list of 2024, see what happened, how it really affected the gameplays. We're going to go over each set that came out 2024, and then what events have been looking like since everything that's been happening over the summer. Alright, before we get started though, be sure you do like the video, comment down below what would you like us to talk about, and subscribe for more content. Make sure you do put that notification bell on so that way you could get notified whenever we do upload a video, and it will allow us to reach our next milestone before my birthday next month. Alright, well, let's get started. So the first thing that we want to go over is the bans, the ban announcements. Do you remember what day it was, or like what
End
month?
of September.
It was
the end of September. So we had what was banned. Nadu. I think it was too early for our sweet bird, but of course Towley has a different idea.
Oh yeah, fuck the bird.
And then Jeweled Lotus, which, if you really think about it, is kind of it's a pretty big impact, and we're gonna talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mana Crypt, which has been in the game pretty much forever, and
Yep.
it's just very surprising to see how that one played out. That was a little out of left field. And of course, the boogeyman of the whole list, because I'm sorry, Nadu was bad. It wasn't that bad. You could deal with it, people. You could deal with it. But the big boogeyman was Dockside Extortionist.
Yep.
That one was also a little out of left field. But let's kind of examine a little bit. So Nadu, hopefully WotC learned their lesson. You kind of have to test a card before you release it. Created problems everywhere it went. So that's just, I know when it came out in the modern set, so it came out for modern, and in modern it grew to dominance very quickly. In cEDH, we figured out how to break it also pretty quickly. So definitely raise some questions as to what makes a good commander. It did a lot of things that commander, it ramped you, it drew cards, it was in ideal colors. Just there was quite, I would argue, almost no reason to run anything else in blue-green. I'm sorry, Kennen lovers. I do apologize. I acknowledge the Bonder Prodigy, but to me, it was a nice breath of fresh air, something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it used artifacts, which I love, personally.
I think that, honestly, because I know Arena are right at the card. They made it so that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I believe in Arena, Nadu only triggers itself. So it doesn't trigger for each creature in Arena anymore. It's just itself. So to me, I'm like, okay, if the card originally was that, where it only triggered itself twice, and that's it, even if you do it on other people's turns, that right there would have been completely fine. It was more of the abuse of being able to just scoot swarm. And then be like, well, I just generated 120 scoot swarms. It's safe to say I could just pick up my deck, right? And then play whatever lands I have. And everyone's like, yeah, sure. Or, like, it feels as also if the lands came in tapped instead of untapped. I think if they would have said, like, okay, it does trigger to each creature that you have twice, but the lands come in tapped, I think then the card wouldn't have been as busted. And I don't think at
Right.
that point people would be crying for bans from both Modern and Commander. That would have
Yeah.
been the right choice. And if they do decide to errata the card, I think they should go the route Arena did, where they say, okay, it's only going to be Nadu that gets triggered, not every other creature.
I think it can only be triggered twice, period, is what it says. But I definitely want someone in the comments to let us know.
Yeah.
Um,
Regardless, even if it's like triggered twice just itself, like, and then you could choose other creatures to trigger twice, I honestly think it's not that bad. Like, if they would have done that. Not for each creature.
I would argue it's not competitive at that point, but that's we'll never know.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the others, like, I do agree. Joe Lotus, I mean, Josh Lee Kwai said it right. They should have never made that card, but they did. And it's really weird that they banned a commander focused card. But, I mean, I'm like, yeah, it did it break my heart? Yes. Did it make me cry financially? Yes. But, I mean, I'm still able to win with Atraxa. And Atraxa is a 7 cost. What was it? Our last game I played Atraxa, I turned 3'd her and just kept comboing off that, 4 and 5 turns later. Yeah, so it's still possible. Like, heck, even a recent event had an Natali Primal Conqueror win. And what's that, a 7 cost?
Yep, without the Lotus or Mana Crypt.
Or even Dockside.
Note that.
So,
yeah, or Dockside.
To me, high CMC, yes, some were affected. And I mean, even Niv Mizzet Perrin was affected. But to me, it's not that bad. Like, it still opens up to bigger CMC commanders to be able to play. Because ultimately, those 4 bans allowed the game to go a little longer. It gave a lot of love to mid-range decks. And, I mean, when you think about it, the only true turbo deck is Rockside. And even that's getting shut down by TNT, who typically tries to, or I should say, should try to turn 1 a Blind Obedience or a Collector Oof.
Which, by the way, everyone watching, you're going to notice a little bit of a trend, because TNT is going to come up a few more times.
Yep.
Definitely in our notes here.
Yep.
But, 2 color commanders, especially ones with high CMC, I would argue got hit the hardest. Everyone got hit by losing Mana Crypt. Yes, I am aware that Rog Sai and Kennen Bonner Prodigy don't play them as much. It doesn't mean it's a loss overall.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, Kennen doesn't play Dockside, so he doesn't really care about it.
I think the only thing about Kennen was the clones that allowed them to put like Pseudo Docksides. Like, I did cut out Mockingbird for a second there because of the Dockside ban, but I do plan on bringing it back to the deck just because I'm like, am I stupid or what? That's a 2 cost Esper Sentinel for me. Like, I could just do that. And some people have told me to do Clever Impersonator too, but I told them, like, if I got what was it called? Mirror Image? So I was like, no. What is it called?
Mirror Image is 1 and 2, and then Clever Impersonator is still 1 blue and 3, if memory serves me correctly.
Mirage Mirror, that's what it is. That's what I was thinking about. Mirage Mirror.
The artifact.
Yeah, but I may actually take out for Mirror Image, because Mirror Image it comes in as a clone of the enchantment or artifact, and it stays that way. The Mirage Mirror, it's until end of turn. So, I mean, if I have the extra mana to be able to pay for the 3+ Kennen with the Seaborn Muse out, yeah, it's doable. But I think the other card's way better, which I might actually replace and just do it that way. But, I mean, heck, like, me personally, I think Izzet got hit the hardest with the bans. Or honestly, anything that runs red.
Lady Joyra right here gets me right in the feels, man. Deck was doing pretty good. Was starting to finally earn its spot back, and then this happens.
Yep. I mean, I'm still going to keep my Joyra, and then I still want to, like, hopefully one day meet Tappy Toes to sign the Joyo that I have, so that way I can just frame it. But yeah, it sucks.
I have the print in my background. I have a Modfly altar of Joyra. Actually, I have like several altars of Joyra. So yeah, no, it hurts a bit. But that's okay. My Is It Void is being filled by a thumbless goblin and a face stealer.
Yep.
So, I'll take it.
And new Nim Mizzet. Holy fuck. That Foundations Nim Mizzet is so strong. Oh my god.
We're going to talk about that again, too. So,
yeah.
Plenty of stuff for you guys on this one. So.
And then lastly, go over on this section, too. Lion Goblin. I know it's not as good as Dockside, but it's a decent replacement for Dockside because you can combo Lion Goblin with Emil. All you have to do is just get a 4-vowel word and you generate infinite red.
Yep. So, just kind of get into that. So, of course, if you did like Nadu, sorry, the bird is dead. Next best thing, next blue-green commander in line is Kinnan Bonder Prodigy.
Yep.
So enjoy your Kinnan decks, beautiful people. Have fun with that.
Hell yeah.
There is no direct replacement for Jeweled Lotus. Bad news bears.
No.
We're gonna have some side recommendations, and if you want to ask for those, you can come check us out in the Discord and you can ask.
Which is free, by the way. Anyone can join.
It's gonna vary case by case.
Yeah.
Which also deck reviews, we're doing those too. So if you need help or you're trying to figure something out, come in. Got a lot of people willing to help out.
Oh yeah.
But then Mana Crypt, if you weren't running Soul Ring for some unknown reason, that's going to be your best bet.
Yep.
So there's that. I know some people who are against Soul Ring. Totally get it. I think. So if you're not running Soul Ring, do that. And then for Dockside, Line Goblin, Mind Goblin, No Name Goblin, whatever shorthand version you would like to use. It is the _ Goblin from the most recent Unset Unfinity.
Yeah.
So that's where you have your sticker side game. Please bear in mind, you have to do the side game. Fun fact, it's in the rules.
Yeah.
So make sure you have your stickers picked out ahead of time.
Yep. And try to do it before you start doing the pre-games. Just, especially if you're going to an event, because it does take time. Like, it can potentially take a lot of time off the clock if you try to roll for your vowels during the pre-game. And
yeah,
I tell you, if that happens to me, I'll be so mad. Waste 10 minutes trying to decide 3 stickers.
I'm also pretty sure that there's lists online that cite which ones are the best ones to get so that you really can't lose on that. So just do your research. Reddit is your friend. And then again, you can also ask in Discord. We have some people who are on it that would be willing to help.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. So, of course, and then our biggest losers was pretty much all the 2 colors, all the high CMC commanders for the most part. There are always going to be outliers and exceptions to the rule, so just bear that in mind as well.
Yep.
So then, what kind of new toys did we get for the year, Tally? Why don't you start off?
So starting with 2024, we're going to be going over the sets that came out, starting with Ravnica Remastered. It was a bona fide reprint set for Ravnica, just like every other remastered, so there's really nothing new that came out. But it did make Shocklands more affordable. They did have a reprint for Cyclonic Rift, which,
sure, if you're a fan of Cyclonic Rift, I love the art. The anime one with the sheep getting thrown off.
Yep.
That makes me chuckle every time. And then for you Dredge fiends, just about all of the Dredge cards you could possibly dream of.
Oh yeah.
Got reprinted.
Yep.
You're gonna see some of those reprints on our next gameplay.
Yep.
Fun fact.
Yep. What I didn't like though was Cyclonic Rift. It didn't seem like the value it was impacted at all. Like, I guess that's a good thing for the collectors, but I mean, to people who would wish to one day own a Cyclonic Rift, which, bear in mind, I own my own, so, I'm saying this for the others out there. That sucks. That's still a $50 card. Like, it's like crazy. Yeah. It's still $50. But there's Deathrite Shaman, Birds of Paradise, Teferi Time Raveler. That's a really good reprint. Mayhem Devil, and honorable mention that we both agreed prior to the bans, Cloudstone Curio. Because that was a really good reprint prior to the bans.
It hadn't been reprinted except for, I think, as a Kaladesh invention. I have to double check. But I'm pretty sure it was originally printed in the original Ravnica, and then the Kaladesh reprint, and then that's it. And then we got it in remastered. So kudos there. Sad but bad news bears for Dockside extortionist lovers.
Right. And then Murders.
Murders at Karlov Manor. So Surveil Lands. That was super helpful. Especially for decks that are trying to go fast, looking at you, Rogsai. And then Delny.
Yes.
You had some thoughts on that one.
Yes. Double the Orcus triggers. Double everything that's like power 2 or less triggers. More importantly, with CEDH wise, though, it's Orcus. Timna. Yeah, Timna is a good one. I mean, what are others that we could actually think on top of our heads? That's a really good one.
Krark.
Yeah, Krark is a good one. If you have like Jeskai colors with it, or
no. I think Ken Bauman does Kirk and Timna, and then Delny will let you copy both of their abilities.
Oh wow. Malcolm, you could do double the treasures. Say one Francisco, double the explorers. So I mean, they're like Delny does make a lot of like versatile things that it should like. If you're running white and you run a lot of 2 power or less that triggers, run Delny. If you're not running Delny right now, you should be replacing a card to run Delny like right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we could think of with Murders. Murders is kind of like a bad set, followed by another really bad set, Outlaws.
Well, Outlaws was different. Let's say that. It was different. I'm not going to go so far as to say bad, because there were some outliers. Rakdos the Muscle.
Really good one.
The reprint of the Kaladesh lands. Not a land cycle everybody was looking to get reprinted, but nice to see, all the same. And then, of course, the specialty reprints like Mindbreak Trap and Mana Drain. Those that, desperately needed to be reprinted. Mindbreak Trap in foil for your foil fiends like me. Definitely saved you a lot of headache and trouble.
Yeah, because Mindbreak Trap honestly should never been $80. And the card is good. Let me point this out. The card is good, but it's not $80 good. We all know why it was $80 before this reprint. But that should have been fixed, and that should have been adjusted in Zendikar Rising.
I was gonna say that was the big thing, is it had never been reprinted. That's why it cost so much.
Or even on a list. It was never printed in a list as well. Which that was a huge miss.
All right, and then of course, next up, Modern Horizons 3. This was a fun one.
It was.
It was largely reprints yet again. What was it? Allied fetches you said earlier?
Yep. Like Bloodstained Mire and everything. Yep. That should have been reprinted in Commander Legends 2, and not that Battle for Baldur's Gate bullshit. So
many times. Flood Moon, Shifting Woodland. And of course, let's not forget Bird Boy Nadu. What did wear his crown for 3 months came out of Modern Horizons 3. But that goes back to what we said earlier about WotC lessons. Guys, please playtest your cards.
It's your
playtest your cards.
You made the cards. Playtest your own cards. And what was it? The card originally was supposed to give things flash on top of all that it did. Like, that would have made things worse. But also
that would have been pretty bad.
Yeah. And then the set also did come with flares. Like, I do like flare duplication and a flare denial. Those two are really good, especially in Rockside. I mean, Rockside does run like flare duplication for itself, and then of course you're gonna run like some blue creatures to flare denial. So I do know people who will run both. I know some people would only run denial, or not denial, duplication. Because of Rograk, but yeah. And then Vexing Bauble, probably the best stacks piece in a while.
What was it? Our Magda gameplay a few weeks ago now, with Blight Club member Yeah, Vexing Bobble put in work.
Yep.
Oh, it was when I was running Iron Man.
Yep. Our Marvel gameplay. Yep.
I should have won like 3 times in that gameplay. I see your comments, beautiful people. I see them.
Yep.
I know I was caught underneath the daggone Vexing Bobble. There's only so much I can do.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. And the Phyrexian Tower reprint, that was a really good reprint. I did respect that, and I did like it.
I'm sorry. When it comes to foils and full arts, man, like I'm such a sucker for it, and that one was a very pretty card. It was a very pretty card. By the way, it's in Gitrog Monster. Just saying.
Yep. I got one in the upcoming Glissa, the new Glissa, which I am looking forward to. I actually built it, and actually I had a lot of fun building it. It did run, so in a way, it actually runs similar to Wilhilt, which Wilhilt was my first commander coming back into Magic after I quit when my daughter was born. And it plays the same way, because remember, it's a Phyrexian Elf Zombie. So you know what I added. You know the combo that I added. And so I'm very familiar with the combo. And it just warms my heart that I could do that again. And the NDFCs, I liked all the NDFCs. Most of it did go into Yuriko, which is really good for Yuriko.
Right.
Warren Soul Trader, it's a really good combo piece there. Which the new Eladamri, I do like that. You know, because you can play creatures
very
on
good
top
card
with its ability. And just remember, folks, his ability you could play at instant speed in your turn, so it could be your upkeep, and you could do the thing to put down a creature that you want to put down. As long as it's your turn, don't matter what phase you're in, you could do his ability. And I learned that in my last gameplay, which was insanely broken. Because you could be like, oh yeah, taking my turn, during my upkeep before I draw, I'm going to put down Zavala. Boom. Like,
right? It's like, oh god, that's now a thing I have to deal with.
Yep, it's crazy. Fanatic Aronas, I do like that one because it does combo off with Umbra Mantle.
Yep.
6 should be in all Gitrog monster decks. And
fun fact, it's in mine.
Oh yeah. And then the other reprint that I like to mention is Recruiter Guard. It's the only other fetch, like creature fetch white has is Ranger Captain of Eos, which is limited to 1 CMC or 0 to 1 CMC creatures. Recruiter Guard, it's 2 toughness. So that's more versatile for the same mana. The only thing about Ranger Captain of Eos, why it's a little bit better, is because the sack ability.
Yeah, the silence effect on it.
Yeah. And then next up, I don't understand the hate on this one. And here's why. We're gonna list this. Let's list this first. Let's list the cards first, and then kind of like think, why do people hate on this? Bloomburrow. Go for it. List Bloomburrow real quick.
So this is just the handful that we came up with talking for this one, talking for this video. Valley Floodcaller, amazing card in Rogsai. Mockingbird, a great clone if used correctly. Polywog Prodigy, so many people hate on the Polywog, yet in certain decks it puts in work. Saw and Half reprint, which again was out of Unfinity.
Yep.
Flubs, Glarb, 2 new commanders, who by the way both are frogs, in case you guys didn't notice a theme here.
Yep.
3 Tree City. If you have multiple creature types, 3 Tree City can put in some work.
Especially on monochrome decks. Yep.
And that's just what we came up with for this call.
Yep.
Now, or this discussion. But here's the thing. A lot of people hate on Bloomburrow because they're like, oh man, little woodland creatures. It gave us Heir Apparent. It gave us all the cards we just mentioned.
Yep.
And yeah, they're little fuzzy creatures, sure, that put in work.
Yep. Like, Into the Flood Maw. That's another
Into
good
the
one.
Flood Maw.
Which I get that people didn't like the gift ability, but at the same time, Into the Flood Maw, you're basically what are you giving them? A 1/1 fish?
A fish.
What the hell are they
gonna
do with the freaking fish? As long as you don't give the fish to the player who could take advantage of sacking creatures. what the hell are they gonna do with what am I supposed to do with a 1/1 fish with Kennen?
It's really no different than a Forbidden Orchard and you giving someone a 1/1 spirit that can't fly, by the way. Don't know if people ever remember that. Spirit from Forbidden Orchard doesn't fly.
Nope.
But you're giving him a fish. They can't do anything.
And
it has no abilities.
You want once you gift it.
It could literally bounce anything.
It's a good removal. And then remember, lastly, that I want to point out Hazel's Brewmaster, which is a
from the precon.
Yep, for the precon, and it's a second Agatha Soul Cauldron. And to me, it's a little bit better because it's your food tokens that will get all the abilities of the exiled cards. So you could do the Walk-in Ballista combo with the food token. You could do Razaketh combos with the food token. Like, you could do, like, whatever shenanigans you want to do with food. I got the Soul Cauldron, okay, like 2. It is a little better. But Hazel's Brewmaster lately, especially in events, what I've been reading, has been doing a lot of work. Like, a lot of work.
In work.
Yep.
So that gets us to Duskmourn. So Duskmourn, Vergelands. I know you were excited for him. Lots of people were excited for him.
I love him. I love the Vergelands.
I am not a huge fan because they didn't print one in my preferred colors. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad.
Yep.
New Kaito for Yuriko.
Yep. It's a really good one.
That's such a strong card. Marvin, even though I lost that gameplay, I loved playing with that little creepy doll. It put in a lot of work, and when I was doubling up on metalworker triggers, oh man, like inner kid, man, just had so much fun, such a blast. And then Master of Keys, one of the guys in my local scene has been really pushing Master of Keys, and I've been seeing it on some tournament results, and you have too.
No.
So yeah, definitely putting in work. Another commander print, man. Like every once in a while, WotC lets out a nugget. You guys got to be paying attention to that stuff.
Oh yeah. And then lastly, Foundations. It's basically just a bona fide reprint. Now it did, like I said, the new Nim Mizzet, the strongest. I truly feel, besides the what was it, Tavia, the smothering tithe creature.
Oh right. Yeah.
So besides her, new Nim Mizzet is a strong fucking card. All you gotta do is just play that spell. I think it was like an instant or sorcery. I don't remember what it was, but it's one
Bolt
red.
Wave.
Was it? Yeah, one red where it deals 3 damage to everyone. Just one red and you draw 9 freaking cards with Nim Mizzet. Just one red. How insane is that?
It's almost like every printing of Niv Mizzet that's exclusively red and blue should say get wrecked across the bottom, because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to wreck you. Not to mention, let's take a second to acknowledge Niv Mizzet, the only dude that can combo with himself.
Oh, yep. You have
such a narcissist.
And I
such a narcissist.
Isn't it new Niv Mizzet in Perun? I think they combo off, and then Firemind and
Draco Genius. It does not work. I think because of one of the stipulations on Draco Genius, but the original Firemind, Perun, and the new one all can combo with each other. It's nutty.
It's crazy.
That leads us to events.
Oh yeah.
So one of the big concerns of the year was events kind of taking a little bit of a hit. I'm not seeing that. I think it was maybe a little premature to say it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like events are still happening. Events are still popping off. I know in my area, we're still trying to get our league established, but I've seen and heard in other areas from other stores. You guys posted on Twitter and X. I do actually read my Twitter feed. I'm terrible about posting on it, but I do read it. And I just see it's out there and events are thriving.
Oh yeah. And then, I mean, besides like all like the random like smaller events and like local game shops and everything, you still have like SCG hosting events, GalaxyCons hosting events with Clash for Cash. You have like MagicCons hosting events, like Command Fest hosting events. I mean, even looking at it. So, speaking of events here, especially the bigger ones, let's start here with Boyle 2. Yes, TNT won that. There were 2 TNTs that went top 4. I believe it was like 2 TNTs, a Magda, and a Kennen. That was top 4. 2 of the top 6 teams were Asikas. That blew my mind. I did not think Asika was going to be even relevant in cEDH, but holy shit. And people are like building it and no other. But when you actually see it as well and read the reports, Boyle 2 had Blue Farm was the most recorded deck list to come in. They said that only 2 of them went to top 32, and out of the 2, only 1 made it to top 16. And then Roxai tied with TNT for second most, but it didn't even reach top 4. It may have reached top 16. I didn't really see the entire top 16 list, but it didn't reach top 4. So for everyone out there who are worried about events, you know, don't want to play against all these Roxais, these Blue Farms, just play the game. You never know. You truly never
really
know.
Don't.
Like, you could be in a pod with 3 Blue Farms and still win the game. You just never know. It just like every other person in the pod, it's all the luck of the draw.
It really
That's all it is. And then, I mean, Atali Primal Concrete won the SCG Chicago event. And I believe a comedian mentioned that there was an event where Hidetsugu and Kyrie went top 4.
Like,
that, right,
who would have thought that one?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Okay, that's cool. And then he took Yannette to at least top 10, which to me, I'm like, I mean, that's the GOAT right there. So it just seems like whatever deck he builds, he's automatically going to top 10.
But this is highlighting one of the last items we have on our list is more variety. Seeing these decks do better. There's a reason why we're calling attention to these things. Is because you're seeing them more and more and more. We're going back to 2019 and 2020, beautiful people. We're going back to the mid-range meta we had. And if you're not ready for it, yeah, you're probably going to have a bad time. So just be aware of what you could run into and make sure you plan accordingly. Make sure you're setting up for your removal. So many of you complain about removal. You don't run enough. Run more removal. Make sure you're targeting the things that are going to give you grief. Check your colors. There's plenty of cards out there. Please, please, please go into the Discords. Ask for help. Come into our Discord. I'm a mod on Is It. We can help you figure out what's going on and what you're running into. And we can help you adjust accordingly. Right? It's both a great time and it's a very interesting time, but for some people it's a little scary because they're like, I don't understand what's in a Timna Thrasios deck that I should be worried about, or I don't know what's in some of these other decks. That's why resources like EDH Top 16 are going to be your friend, because you can go look and see what people are using, what people are recommending, and you can also go in and ask. In your respective Discord is like, hey, I'm running into this as a problem. What do I do? Just ask. Like, I've never had anybody shy away from trying to answer a hard question. And the answer may just be, well, you're going to have a bad time. Like, sometimes that is what it is. So don't be afraid to try another commander or try a different strategy altogether.
Like, you know how many commanders I went through after the bans, since Dora was no longer a thing anymore? It took me 4 different commanders before I went to Kennen. And it took me like 6 or 8 different commanders until I finally realized that Atraxa was back. Someone was like, yeah, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of practice. Don't give up on the first commander. I think that's like the issue when the casual players are trying to get into cEDH. They give up on the first commander, which is like, no, what you want to do is you want to start on your favorite color or your favorite color combinations and then go from there. That's what you should be doing. Like, we have people who play Golgari. That's going to get into Sultai, because Sultai is still part of their play style, but play Sultai versus Golgari. Golgari, you want to win fast. Sultai, you have the protected ones with the counters.
Right,
And
you
then,
get into blue, you get into Tassiger, you're back in the mid-range territory, and it's already lining up with the gameplay that you're used to. So that's the other thing I was going to recommend is don't hesitate to look at other commander options that are along the same lines or in the same vein of what it is you're trying to do with your current commander.
Yep.
Right.
And we will have a video coming out in 2025 that's going to talk about what to look for commanders, because there's 3 different things you want to look for to make a good cEDH commander. We'll go in more detail on another video. But I believe that's all we want to go over. So
yep, that's
if you did like the video, hit that like button, comment down below what you like us to talk about. Subscribe so that way we can reach some milestones before my birthday at the end of next month. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
See ya.
Bye, guys.